Thanks.
So we were discussing about the MiG-21, right?
Right, sir.
So like I said, you answered the questions yourself. You only told me, right? Maximum accidents Maruti because maximum number. One.
Right.
You said you will give it to a new driver, the Maruti, because you want him to gain some experience. You want to test him out.
Right, sir.
And third is India didn't have the money to buy the modern aircraft. Nobody gave you free.
और वेस्ट दे भी नहीं रहा था हमें, उनको देना भी नहीं था,
नहीं, forget free. वैसे भी नहीं दे रहे थे.
वैसे भी नहीं दे रहे थे, right?
And secondly, you used it for a role. For example, कर अपने मारुति को अगर ट्रक की तरह सामान शिफ्ट करने में यूज कर लिया तो वो चलती रहेगी क्या उतने साल?
उसी दिन बैठ जाएगी सब.
Exactly. तो यही होता था. So it is not a fault of the aircraft. Let's not blame the aircraft. The fact that I am alive after flying it for 15 years, what does it mean? And it's not an easy machine to fly. I'll be very honest. It's a tough machine. It was supposed to be flown by the most experienced pilots. Unfortunately, we didn't have a choice. So it's not as if the aircraft didn't scare me. It has scared me many times. But I always say this, if you respect the aircraft, you will come out, you will walk out of it. The day you think that any aircraft, you know well, that aircraft will show you that it has something which you don't know, irrespective of the aircraft that you fly. Because this is what I've always told people. If God wanted man to fly, he would have given you wings like the birds.
Right.
But the fact that he has not given you wings means you are not meant to fly. Nature did not design you to fly. You're doing something which nature has not designed you to. Right? So there is an inherent risk. You have to learn to accept it.
Sir,
and respect it.
आपने बोला the aircraft has scared you a couple of times. Before jumping to that, I would like you to at least share something with the audience जो भी देखेगा इस वीडियो को. जब आपकी ट्रेनिंग हुई थी तो उस टाइम पे भी आपके SPD-32 थे कि कोई और एयरक्राफ्ट?
हाँ जी. I have gone through that big rigmarole. I first flew the glider in National Defense Academy. I did my solo on gliders on the Arahha.
Okay.
And then I went to BFTS, Bamroli, Allahabad to fly the HPT-32. Right. 202 hours, 30 minutes I've flown on the HPT-32. Again, an extremely difficult, risky machine to fly. A lot of accidents took place.
Yeah, twin-seater, right, sir?
Yeah, tandem seater, trainer, side by side, single propeller. It was finally withdrawn because there were so many accidents. The engine was unstable. And yes, but it was a Western engine.
It was by HAL, right, sir? If I'm right, SPD-32
aircraft, yes, but the engine was Avco Lycoming AEIO D5 S400. See, I still remember the engine. 1991 I flew.
And sir, उसमें ejection sheet था कि नहीं था?
No, there was no ejection. You have to do a manual bailout. You have to open the canopy, get onto the wings, jump out, pull the parachute.
And अगर low level पे है तो कुछ possibility ही नहीं बनती.
Exactly. So every aircraft, and it is not as if it was only HPT. All over the world you have. Even if you go to civil aviation, you fly the Diamond. There is no bailout only. Right. There is no parachute in that.
Right.
Yes, but the difference is they don't do aerobatics in that. They do only one kind of flying, straight and level. In the HPT, you would do close formation, aerobatics, you would do low level flying, low level navigation, everything, night flying, the works.
So sir, आपका कैसा experience था आपकी training में? मतलब आपके instructor बहुत tough.
It was not easy.
Okay.
I had to work hard. It was tough. It was really, really tough. You had to work hard. And during those days, the number of groundings were very large because there were no simulators at all.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
The first time I got a simulator, actual fly-worthy simulator, first time ever, it was somewhere in 2005. That is 14 years after I started flying.
तो आपने जैसे कि देखिए मैं अज्यूम कर रहा हूँ आप हैदराबाद गए, आपको चालू करा, कुछ थ्योरी क्लासेस आपकी हुई, directly they went asked you to sit in the plane with the instructor and see what he is doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the only way.
Because उसके पहले
that was the only way. There was no simulators there.
उसके पहले जो इतनी सारी बटन देखे होंगे किसी ने, वो हमने कहाँ देखे होंगे? आपके बाइक में कितना होता है?
So basically क्या होता है? There is what is called as pre-flying ground training, right? So after you join, there are classes constructed by the flying instructors where they show you the cockpit display, what is expected, what operates what, how do you start up. So the switches will be shown. Those days there are charts कि ये switch on करना है, फिर ये sequence है. You have to learn the checks. Okay, I still remember TT, MP, FFIO, HV, temperature, throttle. I still remember that.
सर एक मिनट, जस्ट मोमेंट, मैं आपको रोकना चाहूंगा यहाँ पर. मैंने एक वीडियो देखा था इसमें कि 230 में एक बंदा आगे बैठा हुआ था, इंस्ट्रक्टर, and he has blindfolded his eyes and he was simply going.
That's called a blindfold check. Okay. That's called that was always done. So you have to sit in the cockpit and the instructor would come. He would say booster pump, hand out, select it on.
Okay.
Okay, it's a throttle friction nut there. Where is the ASI? There. put on the generator there. So your finger had to go even if you're blindfolded and put it on. That was mandatory. A blindfold check was carried out every 15 days.
So it was more like a muscle training, even though if you're going in a high G.
No, the correct position of the hand, yes, muscle, brain coordination. उसको on off करना है, ऊपर नीचे करना है, side में करना है, push करना है, pull करना है.
तो मतलब कि जब आप नहीं भी देख रहे हैं, सपोज आप एक 1-to-1 उसमें हैं, मतलब कि किसी
हाँ,
combat में हैं.
because आप अगर fly कर रहे हो, if you're flying, if you're moving the stick to the right and you want to operate something, you're looking to at the enemy, you should be able to operate the switch without looking at. Because if you look inside, you lose the enemy. Or if you're flying low level at 900 kilometers per hour, you're looking outside and flying, you have to operate something. If I'm going in for an attack, I'm looking at the target, at the ground. I can't look inside, ये select करके मैं button दबाऊं, तब तक तुम ही target में घुस जाओगे.
राइट सर, राइट सर, राइट सर. अगेन ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें हैं, जैसे कि जो मेरे माइंड लिखा हुआ है, सामने आपका एक स्क्रीन होता है, इसमें क्या आपका लेवल आता रहता है. तो टारगेटिंग कैसे होती थी? बिकॉज जैसे कि अभी तो मतलब हम वीडियो गेम खेलते हैं, उसमें आपका सामने आता रहता है कि आपका
अभी तो बियॉन्ड विजुअल रेंज है. अभी तो तुमको टारगेट देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, तुम सिर्फ रेडार पे लड़ाई लड़ सकते हो.
तो उस
इट वाज
टाइम
नॉट
पे
लाइक दैट.
उस टाइम पे आप
विजुअल साइटिंग.
Tell me what you see, smoke in the air. Smoke in the air, smoke in the air. Hang on.
ओके.
You have to visually sight, get behind him, track him, select the guns on, get into the correct range and fire only in correct range. Because if you fired out of range, you would miss him. If you fired too close, you will go through the debris. No point in shooting him down, then you get damaged yourself.
और उस टाइम भी इतनी हाईली एफिशिएंट मिसाइल्स भी नहीं होते होंगे बीवीआर वाली. उस टाइम पे आपका रॉकेट है.
There was no BVR. It was all close combat missiles. You had to come close to each other.
ओके. एंड MiG-21 was mostly आपका, आई एम सॉरी अगर मैं रॉन्ग नाम दे रहा हूँ, मिसाइल्स जो कि
No,
आपका
that's okay.
जो मिसाइल जो आपके साथ में चलती है, एंड मशीन गन आपका बेसिकली हाईली एफिशिएंट
Yeah,
मशीन.
so there were you had missiles, but very limited. Okay. So primarily when we flew, we would always carry the guns, front guns, and then ground attack missions. The air combat would carry at least 2 missiles.
Okay.
Right? But they were limited missiles. So
तो
that's how it was.
कमिंग बैक टू जो आप बता रहे थे एचपीडी 32 में, जो बता रहे थे आपके जो आपके इंस्ट्रक्टर थे, उन्होंने ट्रेन करा, बताया कि स्विच कहाँ पर है, एंड देन यू वेंट विद हिम इन द एयरक्राफ्ट. You see how
yes, so then they would have all this. You would have repeated tests on the sequences. They would like to ask you entire startup procedure, right? The vital actions before takeoff, lineup checks, checks after takeoff, checks in the air, heave fall path checks, rejoin checks, downwind vital actions, approach checklist, after land. So everything you have to write down correctly, right? The local flying area to remember every single feature. For example, if you go, I still remember from Fafamo what course you had to set course in how much time you would reach Bamroli from Iradatganj. You had to know Manjanpur was a point. Okay. What was the river? Manjari river was there. Manjra river. So things like that in different places you have to cram up. You have to have the map and you have to locate. So those were tests, right? Procedures, USRT procedure, local laws procedure. All this you have to learn by cram because there's no time to take out something, read. Like in the civil flying, it is all read and challenge, response. So one pilot reads, the other checks and does the actions. It is because you're alone.
जैसे कि अभी तो अपने
चैलेंज एंड रिस्पॉन्स.
अभी तो अपने पास जीपीएस कोऑर्डिनेट है, जीपीएस कोऑर्डिनेट है, आपका ट्रैक
पहले नहीं था ना.
ये क्वेश्चन मैंने लास्ट टाइम पूछा था. सपोज के लिए आप टेक ऑफ करते हैं जामनगर में गुजरात से, एंड यू आर डूइंग ऑन अ शॉर्टी टूर फॉर रैकेट शॉर्टी.
तो उसमें हाँ, we used to call it the moving thumb display, the best navigation in the world. Okay. So you would hold the map like this. Can you see this?
Right.
And put, because you have to hold the throttle with the left hand and fly, right? Okay. So then you look at the map, there is, I have to cross a railway station. So you look outside, look for the railway station, overflight, check the time. At 9 minutes, 12 seconds, I am flying it. If I am flying at 9 minutes, 9 seconds, I am 3 minutes early. Right. If I am flying it over at 9:12, I am 3 seconds late. And what is 3 seconds? You know how much is 3 seconds in distance?
Sir, 3 seconds, आपका 250 किलोमीटर, आपका 250
750 meters.
Right, 1 kilometer.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So if you have to fire a weapon 750 meters out, you will not hit the target, or if you fire late, you will hit beyond the target.
तो उस टाइम एवरीथिंग वाज मैनुअल, मतलब आपको लिटरली फीचर्स देखने कहां पर है. आई एम थिंकिंग राइट नो अभी अपने पास.
Now I'll give you one more example. So if this is a waypoint where you're supposed to reach to join up with, like say I was in an electronic warfare squad, so to join up with the ground attack aircraft. So the ground attack aircraft will come. Let's say at 091500 is the RV, rendezvous. Okay. Come there. 0915, I would join up and you would fly.
Hmm.
If I am 0919, 4
You-
seconds late, I'm 1 kilometer behind.
Right.
I will never be able to pick him up in winter or in clouding. Now
Hmm.
what? He's going for the mission. I am going for the mission. We are not in support of each other. It was all manual, no GPS. And you can't use the radio because the moment you use the radio, the enemy knows you are armed.
They will intercept.
Everything was manual.
मैं 2-3 बुक पढ़ रहा हूँ, उसमें बताया गया है जब उस टाइम पे हमें प्लेन्स थे, जब बांग्लादेश पे अटैक हुआ था, तो दे फ्लू इन 4 or 5 फॉर्मेशन एंड देन दे हैव टू रीच एट दैट लोकेशन एंड मैन्युअली सी कि आपका जो प्लेन है, जो एनिमी प्लेन है, वो कहाँ पर है, बिकॉज रडार माइट नॉट बी एबल टू पिक द प्लेन.
Because your radars will have what range? You can't look deep into it. Today, yes. Today, radars can look up to 500 kilometers into enemies.
Right.
Those days, you couldn't cover your own country fully. With the limited range that you had.
आप फ्लाइंग भी कर रहे हैं तो रडार आपके नोज पे होता है. इट कांट सी समथिंग दैट इज at your level on your right
Yes,
hand
yes.
side.
So radars can pick up enemy aircraft. Those days, radar couldn't pick up the ground target.
Yes.
Today, you have systems. You got TV guided bombs. You can pick up the ground target. There was nothing which could pick up the ground target. You have to manually acquire it. So you have to go close to the target, exposing yourself to enemy missiles, anti-aircraft guns, and ground fire also.
तो सर फिर जैसे कि आपकी
Things have
ट्रेनिंग,
changed.
आपकी जब ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट हुई वहां पर डुंडीगल में आपका, देन यू वर शिफ्टेड टू सम अदर लोकेशन.
Incidentally, I never went to Dundigal, by the way.
Okay. Then
So I spent 6 months in Bamroli. Then I went to Hakimpet for 6 months.
Okay.
Went to Dundigal only for 15 days for my passing out parade.
okay.
And then went to a fighter's con direct. I didn't go to Moftu
Okay.
in the east. I went to one ounce con and did my flying there.
Okay. And you landed in MiG-21, मतलब training के
Yes,
बाद.
yes. Most 90% of the full Air Force, whoever was commissioned, would either go to MiG-21s or would go to Hunters. That's it.
Okay.
There was no other way.
हंटर्स का हमारा एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन लगा हुआ था. हम लोग निकलते थे कानपुर से चकेरी एयरपोर्ट के बाहर में, तो एंट्री करते ही एक
Correct.
हंटर लगा हुआ था बड़ा सा उस टाइम पे. एंड आई थिंक
But that's
हंटर,
it. Those are the only two.
हंटर सबने देखा हुआ है बॉर्डर में. जो बॉर्डर मूवी है उसमें हंटर ही यूज करा
Correct,
गया है
correct, correct.
विद लिमिटेशन कि रात में फ्लाई नहीं कर पाता है.
So many aircraft that couldn't fly. That it had a limitation.
MiG-21 was able to fly in the night, sir.
Yeah. But MiG-21 was not supposed to do a ground attack mission at night.
Okay.
But we did it.
Okay.
Because we had no option.
तो सर अभी जो आपने क्वेश्चन बताया, आपने पहले बताया था कि the machine scared you for couple of time, right?
Yeah. What couple of times?
Yeah.
Many times. I've lost count.
Okay. HPT 32 से जब आप लैंड करते हैं MiG-21 में, तो क्या मेजर डिफरेंस आपको दिखा as a young pilot?
So between aircraft, see, the HPT is a single engine propeller aircraft, max speed of about 300 kilometers per hour, which you reach very rarely in aerobatics. The normal speed is 180, 170 kilometers per hour, right? Then we went to Ishkras. Okay. So the Ishkras, we would fly at 500, 550, maybe that's it. When we went to MiG-21s, the minimum speed is 320 kilometers per hour, minimum speed. Okay. Aircraft can't stay airborne below that speed.
Okay.
In normal flight.
Ishkras क्या था आपका सर? मतलब I didn't get that.
It was a trainer, a Polish aircraft produced by Poland, used as a fighter, but we used it as a trainer. It was a tandem seater, आगे पीछे वाला. Just like जो ऐसे कि अभी that's when we also
जो अभी हम लोग
उसमें also we did air to ground firing, rockets and bombs and guns on ground targets. We learned everything there.
Okay. सर आप विजिबल नहीं है, आपने वीडियो बंद कर रहे हैं.
Oh sorry, one second. Okay, now.
Yeah. तो Ishkras,
I don't know how it happened.
Ishkras मैंने पढ़ा था अभी कुछ दिनों पहले, because जो आपका HPT 32 था वो it was phasing out, उसमें issues आ रहे थे. Then they got the Polish one, and then they again I think we developed something from UK also. That was new generation fighter jet trainer. Something.
No, I don't remember. See, so we had Ishkras and Kirans for training as the advanced stage. And then we would get commissioned into fighters, transport helicopters, and then go to MiG-21s or Hunters. Transport guys would go to Dorniers. Helicopters guys go to and fly Chetak Cheetah.
तो सर आपकी पहली जो शॉटी थी MiG-21 पे, वो कैसी थी?
मेरे को याद ही नहीं है.
सोलो थी, मतलब it was not two-seater.
मेरे को इतना याद है कि मैंने take off, because the trainer and the fighter are very different from each other. Systems are different. Okay, so I just remember this. After takeoff, it was Sirsa, direction northwest. I just took off. By the time I could do my checks, I realized what had happened. I got a radar call. Please turn left. You are exiting Sirsa local flying area. Those things happened so fast. And by the time I leveled out and got control of the aircraft, I was at a height of 5 kilometers.
Oh my God. ये उसी तरह
It was a complete big jump. But
सर
yes, that's all I remember. And coming back and landing, that's it.
ओके एक दो जो आपने बताया था इट स्केयर्ड यू जस्ट कपल ऑफ इंसिडेंसेस मतलब इफ यू कैन शेयर
Yeah, they scared me quite a few times. I remember once I was flying low level in Adhampur, and suddenly there was extreme high hot air coming into the cockpit. I've written an article about it,
ओके
and it has been shared quite widely. Somehow I managed to stay conscious, came back and landed on the reciprocal runway because it was getting unbearable. I
ओके
came back, landed, cleared of the runway, and next I remember is me being carried out of the cockpit, taken to the hospital.
ओके
There's this guy who had carried me out. His name was Manoj Puna.
ओके
Okay. He works at Bangalore airport, and I met him in
Okay.
2019 after that.
ओके ओके
And unfortunately, he was on duty. So we had to share a coffee, and I wrote an article about it that this guy saved me my life 26 years ago.
ओके एंड
Okay.
सर
So that was one.
ओके उसके उसके अलावा मतलब कि जहां पर कि
Yeah, I had a hydraulic failure when I was going to Nasik.
Hmm.
And after landing, aircraft caught fire. I had a throttle friction, a throttle stuck at 87%. That means 87% of full power. I couldn't
Full
reduce
power.
below it. I had to somehow land and stop the aircraft. I got a commendation by the chief of air staff for it.
ओके
I got a hydraulic failure. I got a pneumatic failure, brake failure. I got everything.
ओके
One night I was coming back to fly. There were sparks in the cockpit. I don't know how. I had to switch off electrics, come back and land in Nalia. So everything has happened.
एंड आपने बताया कि आपने इंस्ट्रक्ट भी करा है मींस यू हैव बीन द इंस्ट्रक्टर फॉर सम
हाँ
टाइम
जी.
उस
Yeah,
टाइम
so
पे
I became an instructor in 98 December.
ओके
And then I was in basic training for 4 years. Then I became an instructor on MiG-21s.
ओके
And I taught on MiG-21s for a long, long time. So I've got about 1600 hours as an instructor.
एंड वो तो उसमें होता होगा जो आपके MiG-21 बेस का जो आपका एक वर्जन आता है इसमें कि आगे पीछे ट्रेनर पीछे बैठता है और
Trainer, yeah. So it's the same trainer for all MiG-21 variants. It's basically the same aircraft which I also flew as a young pilot to learn the MiG-21.
ओके सर अभी के टाइम में जैसे आपने बताया जैसे कि MiG-21 से वी आर फेजिंग देम आउट विद अभी सुखोई है मिराज है अभी आपका राफेल और आपका एलसी आ गया है और एलसी के नए वर्जन आने वाले हैं तो बेसिक डिफरेंस आपका मैनुअल वर्सेस टोटली फ्लाई बाय वायर काइंड में आ गया है कि उस टाइम पे भी
No, multiple. See, these aircraft are much simpler to fly because they've got a lot of systems. Okay, they've got aids to fly. They've got a head-up display. They've got approach landing aids. Speeds are slower. Plus, you don't have to do everything manual. So when you're flying plus two-seaters, there are two pilots in the Su-30, right? So one can be a system operator. Plus, you don't have to fly very close to the enemy aircraft. You can fly at a larger distance. You can have data link transfer. You can do things like a computer sitting at home, right? It's like a simple thing. When you were young, you had to answer a maths paper without a calculator, right? Imagine that, and today, if you have to answer it using a computer, just type in the problem or use Chat GPT, you'll get an answer. Those days, you had to work out, write the formula, remember the formula, do manual calculation, 4 figures 7682 into 3215. उसको पूरी table बना के total करके recheck करके. It took time, right? It got a much more error because each one had to be done. Here you garbage in, but if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. But if you put the correct in, you'll get the correct out. So yes, there are benefits. It's the need of the times. Systems are superior, weapons are superior, inherent threats are also more. Because more number of systems, more failures.
सर जब आप फ्लाइंग कर रहे थे तो उस टाइम में आई थिंक कारगिल वॉर हुआ था राइट
99, yes.
हाँ तो आपने पार्टिसिपेट किया था क्या उस टाइम पे
Yeah, so I don't talk about the Kargil war ever.
ओके ओके
It's a story in itself. A lot of people have written about it. I don't talk about it.
क्योंकि उस टाइम पे हम
It's
लोग
not something that I remember with great memory
ओके
because postmates, friends, so many people have lost their lives.
आई डोंट वांट टू पिंच दैट लाइन बट हमने उस टाइम सुना था मेरे जो अंकल थे वो उस टाइम भरिंडा में ही थे और जो जो दो इंसिडेंट्स हुए थे वहां पर आपके
Ajay Kumar Ahuja.
अजय कुमार आहूजा जी का मेरे चाचा जो थे उस टाइम भरिंडा में थे एंड ही टोल्ड मी व्हाट एक्चुअली ही हैज सीन एंड रिसेंटली मैंने ट्विटर पे भी मैम को करा था मैम हैज शेयर्ड अबाउट कि दिस दिन तो मैंने कहा वी ओ अ लॉट टू यू एंड योर फैमिली एंड वी एज ए इंडियन नॉट मी मींस मैं तो बहुत ही ऊपर
More than five, if I remember correctly, 583 people lost their lives.
और उसमें
If I
आपके
remember correctly, I may be off by a couple here or but around that figure. Each one of them
have given
sacrificed his life.
yes एंड मैं अभी भी जब देखता हूँ मतलब आई हैव नॉट सीन दिस मूवी कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा वाली आई डोंट हैव द करेज टू सी द मूवी टू बी वेरी फ्रैंक मैंने
You
देखा
should,
नहीं
you
है।
should. It's quite nice. It is quite nice.
सर I don't know why I become always so emotional, मतलब कि वो courage नहीं हो पाता है देखने का। I know the story,
No, no,
big fan.
see, this is, you must see, because it's you, when you see, you will understand not only what Vikramadra did, but what his family also went through. It is important to see that movie. It's nice. It's really, really nice.
And सर जो अभी can we talk about the recent incidents जो अभी इंडिया पाकिस्तान बीच में हुआ था, अभिनंदन and MiG-21 वाला उसमें?
Yeah, so it's an amazing act. You know, he shot down a F-16,
Hmm.
and it is obvious the US or Pakistan will never accept it. Simple reason.
Right.
When F-16s were delivered to Pakistan, it was on the condition that they would be used only in anti-terrorism, never against any other country. Right?
Right.
So they could never accept that it was involved in that incident, because then it would have invited sanctions.
Right.
Second, Americans can never accept that F-16 was shot down by MiG-21. What will it do for its sale all over the world?
Right. Right.
And if tomorrow you are going to, like I said, Mercedes X-Class, S-Class, and then somebody in a Maruti 800 beats you in a drag race, will you accept that the Maruti 800 beat you?
I will never. And
Exactly.
The counterpoint which I have in my mind is that the topography of that area where this fight was happening was very much different. Hilly region, right? So there it will always come down to how a fighter pilot will act and how capable the machine is.
So it is. He has got airborne, come up through the valley. They never expected him to come out because they were concentrating on the Su-30s, which were on ORP on our side. They were trying to draw their attention. This guy went up under radar control and shot him down. Right? Now, yes, like I said, the MiG-21 has got limited capability
Right, sir.
of fuel. So when he's gone, put in an attack while returning back, there's a lack of fuel. Most likely that's what has happened. And obviously, after he's ejected, the winds were in the direction that he was forced into Pakistan. If the winds were reversed, he would have ejected and the parachute would have been carried across here.
इंडिया बेसिकली। सर एक चीज जो मैंने आपको देखा था, आपने भी काफी क्लोजली काम करा हुआ है। मैंने मूवी देखी नहीं अभी तक, ये वाली तेजस।
कौन सी?
तेजस।
हाँ।
तो आई बी वेरी फ्रैंक, क्योंकि मैं सब लोग ट्रैक करते रहते हैं, मैंने भी उसकी कुछ देखे हुए हैं। तो हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस? जैसे तेजस में यहाँ पर तो बैंगलोर में भी कहीं दिखा ही नहीं कि इसका शो मिल पाया। आई वांट टू सी दैट मूवी बिकॉज इट्स द इंडियन एयरफोर्स मूवी, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ
Correct.
itself, but because it's Indian Airforce movie. So how was your experience when you were working?
So my experience was amazing. My experience was really, really amazing. So when August 2020, the director approached me, and initially I was quite reluctant because I didn't want to be part of a movie in any case. But when I spoke to him, I realized that he wants to make a genuine movie with showing Air Force in a genuine manner. Okay. Right? And then we discussed, and I met then the actress Kanna Ranaut. I went to Manali to train her and all that stuff. And I can tell you this, if you see the movie, you will not feel that Kanna Ranaut is there. You will feel there's an Air Force officer. Okay. She's done that role so brilliantly. I mean, yes, people can say I am biased because I was part of the project, but when you see it, you'll realize for yourself.
I think it's perfectly fine to be biased, right, sir? Because you are working over there and you have...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, because I was part of the project. So everybody can say that I'm biased, so that's okay. And I will accept that. But if you see the Air Force, it has been shown wonderfully well. You see the way they have behaved. All the people who have worn the Air Force uniform. Okay, see the haircuts in the film. You'll find all of them with proper haircuts. You see the uniforms, they're correct. The way they behave is correct. Yes, it's a fictional film. Right? And obviously, the length of the film is limited. So there are gaps. There will always be. Because in any case, you never make a movie on an average person, would you? No. You make a movie on an exceptional person. Yes. Right? For example, in Uri, there is only one hero. Right. It appears as if only he has carried out the surgical strike. Nobody else is there. Whereas it was a team effort. Here, exactly. But there were multiple people. Nobody. You don't remember anybody else. You just remember that actor, no? Right. You don't remember. So similarly in Tejas also, we have highlighted only Kanna Ranaut. Yes, there are other two. But she is the main protagonist. So everything has to revolve around her. Now the problem is, yes, in this country, everything is political. So there are people who hate her, people who like her. The people who hate her will not do it, irrespective of how good it is. People who like her will see it, however I like her a lot, Kangana. I have deep respect for her. So I see there are a lot of Fauji's who have seen it. A lot of Fauji's who have appreciated the fact that it has been decently made. Yes, they have their own versions of the film, and I accept it. But like I said, it's a fictional film, right? It is not made on something, a specific incident. It's easy to make a movie on what has taken place because you just copy it and show it. Right. But to make a fictional film accurately... Somebody has tried to make a film on Indian Air Force. And secondly, you must understand there will always be a limit of budget in India. Yes. Like people said, the VFX is not so great. There is no end to improvement. Right. If I were to tell you about Top Gun 2, It is the worst action movie I've seen in my life. It is worse than the most atrocious Rohit Shetty action films. It has got the worst nonsense in aviation, military aviation that I've ever seen in my life.
ये
Imagine
मैंने
a guy flying 10.5 G for 1 minute. I mean, I can't imagine.
एंड
Right?
सेकंड चीज
और
जो उन्होंने दिखाया है कि प्लेन
और
मूव कर रहे हैं
हाँ,
और एक नीचे से आता है, nobody will even allow you to even
no,
fly
not even
that
forget
way.
that. I will give you the basic stupid part of that film. Okay. They have carried out an attack on an enemy airfield in such a manner that no aircraft from that airfield should get airborne, correct?
Right.
And then they go across, have a fight and get shot down. And then they run across to the airfields, are sitting there and watching the same airfield all bombed up. And then he
Right.
sees one F-14 sitting there with connected, with loaded, with fuel,
But
right? And then they
taxi
just
runway.
run, they run right across the base. Nobody sees them. Both of them from top, they run right across the base, get into the aircraft, start up and take off from the same base, which they had bombed in such a manner that no aircraft can get airborne.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
can anybody get more stupid than that? But the problem in India is we will appreciate anything that is foreign.
We will not appreciate
We will
anything
lap it
in
up. कि हाँ
India.
हाँ अंग्रेजों ने बनाया तो अच्छा ही होगा. That is the problem.
सर उस फिल्म से मुझे एक उसका पोजीशन याद आया जो मैं हमेशा कोशिश करता हूँ कि मैं रेप्लिकेट करूँ. आपने देखा होगा जब वो क्लाइंब करते हैं आपके माउंटेन्स में, वैली से माउंटेन की तरफ जाते हैं, तो ही टर्न्ड हिज प्लेन लाइक दिस एंड देन ही मूव्ड लाइक दिस एंड देन ही अगेन टर्न. तो वैसा यूजुअली आपने भी फ्लाइंग फॉर्मेशंस करी होंगी कि जब आप नहीं करी हुई है.
It's not possible यार, ऐसे कौन करता है?
जैसे कि
मूवी में दिखाते हैं, बट हम एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं बिकॉज वो अंग्रेज हैं.
ओके,
अगर इंडियन फिल्म में दिखाओ तो बोलते हैं कि ये क्या नॉनसेंस कर रहा है.
आपके कभी ऐसे मूवमेंट हुए हैं, टॉप गन मूवमेंट देखिए आपने टावर बस करा हो?
So you will do maneuvers, yes. You will do maneuvers, yes. But you will not do something. Its aircraft is not capable of doing it.
आपने
It's
कभी
all
टावर
VFX.
आपने कभी टावर बस करा है? एक आपका बहुत ही
हाँ. So you do low level running. So every time a squadron goes on detachment, armament. Let's say I'm posted in say Pune, and we go to Jamnagar for a air to ground armament detachment. And if there's only one squadron, the station there is no flying. So when you come back, you come and do a low level fly pass. Why? Because the tradition was let us wake up the station. They've been sleeping for the last 15 days when you're not here.
Okay.
So all aircraft will come in low. And as you come close, say reheat. Now all of them will light up the reheat. आवाज करते हुए they'll go over the station. So we do that. We do that.
सर यंग जनरेशन के लिए कोई आपका सजेशन जो मुझसे भी नहीं
So if they want to join the force, this is what I keep telling everybody, right? If you want to wear the uniform, okay, do it if you want to serve the country. Don't do it because I like the dress, I like the lifestyle. No. You will ruin yourself, you will also ruin the service, and you will get into trouble. First,
मैंने एक क्वेश्चन लिखा था, सॉरी सर, मैंने एक क्वेश्चन लिखा था, बुक पढ़ रहा था. व्हाट गिव यंग पीपल लाइक पैराट्रूपर चंद्रपाल एंड बालकृष्ण द पुश? क्योंकि वो मालूम होता है कि आई कैन लिटरली डाई एंड देयर इज समबडी, माय डॉटर और माय वाइफ वेटिंग इन द हाउस. तो वो पुश कैसे आता है? ये बहुत ही आपका वैसा क्वेश्चन
so
है.
like I said, see, when you joined the force, when I joined, I was 17. I never thought of a wife and daughter and son and yes, you don't think about it. If you are going to start your first job, do you think that I will take this job? If I take this job, my wife will be happy or my son will do well? You don't. You take the job because you want to do what you always wanted to do, right? So first thing, passion, right? There is no substitute. Even if you're 1% in doubt, if you're 99%, don't join. It doesn't work. It will not help you. It will not help the service. It will not help anybody. 100% commitment is needed. Because like I said, in this field, especially military flying, people lose lives. There is no second chance. And like I told you, the rates, it can happen before you realize it. There was an accident in my squad. We had breakfast together. Then I went to the mess to pick up my overnighter because I was supposed to take an aircraft to another station and deliver it there. When I reached there, I called up the base operations to check if my movement was cleared. He said, sir, I'll call you back. There has been an accident. I said, what accident? He says, one trainer has crashed. I said, who? He says, so and so. I left, I ran back, came, mere squad mein 2 pilots had died in the crash. The same 2 guys with whom I had breakfast less than half an hour ago. That's what happens. Yes, so in this life, join if you're 100% committed. There is no doubt about it. Join if you're willing to leave everything and serve. You should have seen the Indian Idol show. If you get it on YouTube, please see it. The Sunday episode where Colonel Thapar and his wife came. speaking about their son, Vijay and Thapar. See what the lady and the husband spoke about. Okay, after losing their 22-year-old son. That is the commitment that every individual has to have if he wants to wear the uniform. If you don't have that commitment, do not join. Do not join. Don't join because you're attracted by something which you see. Yes, unfortunately, the ads will attract you, but find out, learn, and then only join. Otherwise, it is not okay for you. It is not okay for the service. It's not okay for the country, because finally the country is spending money, and they are immersing their hopes and trust in you to defend them.
And they need that power, and at the same time they might reject somebody else who was more committed to the cause instead of more than you.
Exactly. Right? So it is important. You should.
आपने मूवी तो बताई मुझे. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन हमेशा रहता है कि if you will recommend any movie, so I think Vijeta is the movie that you will recommend.
Vijeta, yes, Vijeta, Prahar.
Okay.
Yes, even Laksh.
Laksh,
do you know incidentally? But do you know Laksh was a flop?
I didn't know. Laksh मैंने कम से कम 20 बार देखी होगी, and it gives me so inspiration, sir.
It's one of the most genuine movies on the army, but it was a flop. If you just Google right now and say, was Laksh a flop or a hit? You know what are the words that Google says?
Okay.
Laksh was a flop, lock, stock and barrel.
I don't understand, sir. इतनी अच्छी movie, इतनी मतलब I don't know. But लोग क्या देखते हैं?
Unfortunately, in this country, such things don't sell. If you had an item number or a sleazy song, it would have gone up. It would have been lapped up.
I have that movie with my friend on repeat. वो वैसा होता है कि देख के आपको कभी मतलब whenever I need enthusiasm, I usually go and watch that movie.
But the fact है, see, Laksh, if you just Google, it says Laksh was a flop, lock, stock and barrel. This is the exact words that come, and it's a shock for me. Because for me, after Vijeta, Prahar, it is the most genuine movie on the armed forces, on the Indian Army. To the extent that when Hrithik Roshan was in IMA, he was mistaken for a gentleman cadet by the drill instructors there. That's how well he's done that role. I mean, it's perfect.
Another example, I think Uri में हमने कभी किसी एक officer को lose किया था, and that officer has played a role in Laksh movie. I forgot his name. I very clearly have seen कि Laksh में जिन्होंने साथ में काम किया था Hrithik Roshan के, he has lost his life. We have lost him.
Yeah, he lost his life. Okay, so I will tell you one more thing. Uri, everybody likes it. Yes, it was a famous film. There are a lot of mistakes in that film. So there is no perfect film, like there is no perfect murder. But because it came just after the surgical strikes, because it had so much hype, right? So it was successful. But that's what I keep saying. It depends on the audience. Finally, if the audience doesn't like it, doesn't like it.
Yeah, if Salman Khan का किसी को item देखना है तो देखना है, and I'm saying it over here. मतलब
मैं तो आपको बता रहा हूँ, मैंने तो I tried to see that Pathan and Jawan, I couldn't stand it beyond 5 minutes.
Intellectual.
Nonsense तो मैंने कभी नहीं देखा.
I won't say intellectual. I want to use intellectual words, but I think something which don't allow you to put too much mind to understand. जहाँ पर दिमाग नहीं लगाना है, हम लोग वही करना चाहते हैं.
But then that speaks a lot about the Indian audience, no? Then they want to see things where they don't have to use their head.
मैंने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन लिखे थे, but I wanted to have this kind of discussion with you because वो होता क्या है कि
sure.
And next time I'm in Mumbai, I'll like you to meet in person.
Yeah, please do. So next time, before you reach Mumbai, the moment you plan, just let me know, because I keep traveling hell of a lot.
Yes.
I keep going on bike rides, I keep going on hikes, on cycle trips, and I keep going across to give such talks and all. I recently went to Hyderabad to give a talk on empathy at the workplace, right?
Yes.
And I give a TED talk on I, a human being, and I was telling them, what can a soldier tell you about being human being? I am trained to kill.
ये मैंने किसी का वीडियो देखा हुआ था. He was a RR. He was from RR and he was a commando. So he said कि we are trained to kill. मैं कहीं दिल्ली में आया हूँ, लोग हॉन्ग कर रहे हैं, तो मैं अगर मारूंगा तो मार ही दूंगा. This is what I was trained for. So that's why I always live away from the population, because बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है, right? Because we are trained.
Yeah. There are, but that is the other challenge for those who retire. They have to prepare themselves. I've enjoyed the day I left. I had already prepared for it, so I've accepted. Yes, I get angry more than what a common civilian may. Maybe I'm still not fully civilized, but hopefully I shall be. Like just a few days back, I lost my temper because when I was at a signal, I stopped short of the stop line, and there were guys who crossed the stop line, so I started yelling at them. Then there was a guy behind me who was honking because वो timer होता है ना signal का, it became 5, 4, 3, and I don't move till it becomes green. So these are things which I do, but
this is another thing which I always try to change when I go to my native Kanpur. मैं कानपुर में एक लोकेशन से सेकंड लोकेशन जाता हूँ, तो in between sometime I shouted for like 5 to 10 times, क्योंकि लोग कुछ follow नहीं करते हैं, and you are somebody who is trained in the school to follow the instruction, follow the rules. ऐसा भी नहीं बोलूँगा कि मैं हर rule follow करता हूँ, but still
it's a question of, see, and finally it's on the individual. You can't expect somebody to sit with a danda all the time, ye karo, wo karo.
Yes,
If it doesn't come from you, then that's why this country suffers, because people are like that. You never want to follow the rules, and nobody can tell you. You can't say, yaar, yes, government ne karna chahiye. Who's the government? He's only you, no? He's one of you only. No politician. Is a politician kharab hai. The politician never elected himself. You elected him. So blame yourself. उसके politician के पास भी एक ही वोट है ना.
right.
अगर उसको 1 लाख वोट मिला तो 1 लाख इडियट्स ने उसको वोट किया है ना.
वोट किया हुआ है.
तो उसने अपने आप को थोड़ी इलेक्ट किया.
And sir, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was one of the
and my apologies for the
sir,
delay, but
sir,
somehow it was
apologies
just not
कुछ
happening.
नहीं. I can totally understand, and I'll be in touch with you, sir, next time in Mumbai.
Sure, please.
And
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
next time you even plan to come to Mumbai, just send me a message that I'm coming to Mumbai. I'll catch you somewhere.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.
All the best. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.